Paltrocast.
John, aside from doing press today, good day for you so far?
Yeah, slow morning, just waking up, slept in, yeah.
Cool. Well, you're here to talk about Oh Brother, which is the new record. When did you actually finish it?
Oh Brother was finished, I don't remember the date. I mean, I did half of the record in Mexico City, and then when I came home, I always do this thing where I add 3 or 4 new songs. So I remember doing Call Me, It's a Winding Road, and one more kind of last minute. So I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 months ago.
When you were recording in Mexico City, how was your recording setup like compared to what you have there in Montreal?
Much better than what I have. It was a full studio. Like I only have a home studio here, and it was sort of a blind date with my buddy, who's now my friend, Felipe Castro, who's he produces artists and works with artists in Mexico. One in particular called Mon Laferte, who's pretty massive in Mexico, and she's crazy talented. And they have a community of musicians around that studio that for some reason they were all Chilean. So it was this beautiful Chilean community so some guys would jump on and play like a charango or a guitar. And there was a guy, Matias, who played drums. So it was just fun to collaborate with a new community.
How was your Spanish before trekking out to Mexico City?
Well, it's been a couple of years. I'm working on it, so it's getting better. But I don't know if you know about the different accents, but Chileans, it's like I can't understand a thing. It's different. I'm used to, like, my girlfriend's from Mexico, but the Chilean accent, like, it's a lot of slangs and a lot of different pronunciations. So it was tough for me to get. So the studio session was a bit strange because sometimes we couldn't communicate in words. So we just had to trust, like, it was actually a beautiful challenge because we just had to vibe it out and try to kind of get each other through music.
The old cliche, music is the universal language in full effect, right?
Yeah.
So this is a compliment. When I listen to your music, it's so much more complex than people realize, that it can be played, as a person, acoustic guitar singing along. But when you listen to it and you hear all the harmonies and the layers and all that, it's like you're using the studio as an instrument. So I'm curious, how did the demos, when you first write the songs, compare to the finished product?
So a lot of the demos, I think, not every song, but I know, like, songs like Call Me, they come out usually in an improvised kind of jam where I'll record just on my phone or whatever I have near me, a laptop or something, just one mic or something. And I'll literally just kind of improvise it, almost like a freestyle, kind of like hip hop and how people rap. And they'll just freestyle in this kind of like inspired moment. And then I'll just listen back and I'll be like, okay, that's when it's like 80% of a song and there's lyrics, and I just got to fill in some blanks and, like, do some arrangements. To me, that's the best. I don't have to, some people write songs and they, spend time writing chords and melody and then trying to figure out words. I hate that. I don't want to do that. I want it to be easy and flow. And when it comes to me, it's usually, so that's how I'm picking the songs. I'm like, this one felt easy. This one it came to me naturally. But, like, to answer your question, the studio thing is, I do like to kind of, like you said, use the studio as an instrument. So there's little details that I find very important. Even when we play live, I kind of like, there's one little ooh and ah with the reverb tail that I felt was really important. So, yeah.
So you don't necessarily need to feel inspired to start writing music. That's what I'm hearing.
No, I totally do. I need to really just be inspired. And, like, sometimes I'll sing a song and it'll be like chickens. I like chicken sandwiches. And then I'll be like, something will just come out of me. And then I'll be like, let's go with that,
So for an album to have 12 songs on it, does that mean that you had 28 jam sessions, improv sessions?
Yeah.
So you really have to whittle it down.
Yeah, so I'll just sit back and I'll just kind of, like, I was doing that yesterday, actually. I was curious, so I went through my voice memos and I'm like, what do I got lying around in here? and I'm like, oh, that moment was cool, or you know, and I'll find little moments, and then I'll like import it into my session, into a session here, and I'll like replay it, just demo it out, acoustic and voice, and see if it works, and then yeah.
Wow. So theoretically, the next album, you could already start writing it because you just mentioned going through stuff yesterday and this album's done already.
I think it's an ongoing process. Like I'm constantly writing, and you know, I used to try to write for an album, but now it's just, you know, you write when you feel like writing. And I travel a lot, so that's something where I spent, like I said, I spent a lot of time in Mexico. So I
Right.
got these voice memos of these birds chirping in the background and me strumming chords and sort of mumbling lyrics, and I'm like, oh, that was a good little moment. Like, so those moments come back, and I can go and fish through my voice memos and find some moments.
Hmm. Upcoming touring with Edwin Raphael. When you're doing this upcoming tour, how much of Oh Brother are the fans going to hear?
What are we doing? I think we're doing 5 of the songs, and I'm leaning to do more. Like the last show, there's a song called Wasted, which is a really, really interesting, slow song. But yeah, we're just discovering how to bring them in the set and the combinations of set lists and all that stuff.
Got it. So
Yeah.
now that Franklin Electric has been pretty active for over a decade, is it tough to put together a set list?
Well, it's fun. I think there's an art to the set list too, and we have there's always one guy in the band who helps out a lot with the set list, which is interesting to get other people's, you know, opinions on, like, we have small moments, we have very acoustic moments, and then we have kind of bigger full band moments, and
Mhm.
yeah, and then just adapting from outdoor festivals to indoor rooms. And then the size of venues, you know, we've toured, and I remember playing a pretty decent sized venue in Denmark, and then going over the border to Sweden, we played a record store that had no PA. So I was like, all right, grab a shaker and I don't know, a couple of guitars.
So it's not just your creative process that's very improv oriented, but it's also what you're going to play and how you're going to play it.
Yeah, some bands I say like the top class of certain bands, they can sell out 3,000 cap rooms worldwide, but fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to see it, we tend to always have to adapt in each market, each city. So I'm like I'm a chameleon.
So you're never bored, it sounds like.
No, we'll flip it up and we'll try to figure out new ways to approach it. Even a set list, I'll usually break the set list in one show. Just be like, hey, let's try something else.
Well, when I listen to your music, it's obviously heartfelt, it's melodic, it's moody in a good way. It's not moody in an emo way, it's moody in an observational, uh, talking about what it is that you're feeling at the moment kind of way. So that, again, a compliment. But did you ever have a metal phase? Did you start off as a metal person?
I started off more as a hip hop.
Really?
Yeah, I really had a strong, I don't know what it was about certain lyrics, like conscious hip hop, like Most Def,
Hmm?
even Tang, and like the definitions of the eye of the Osiris being on the dollar bill and the all-seeing eye, and all these things were there was like a little bit of information and stuff that I really enjoyed, and that rebellious side, I was always kind of like the rebel in me kind of loved it. I also played trumpet, so I loved a lot of jazz and different, yeah.
That was not the answer I was expecting. I find that the more mellow the music or the more introspective and acoustic, the odds are the people started off with metal. But in your case, hip hop. What was that album that kind of bridged the gap between hip hop and singer songwriter for you?
I think the turning point was the first album, obviously. Um, but it wasn't, to me, it was never really about the style. It was that, like, even when I heard certain songs, like there's a poem by Bob Dylan that's the last words for Woody Guthrie.
Hmm.
So if you ever get a chance to check out that poem, he just recites a poem, and it's like rap to me. And he just chops up and kind of like drops some powers punchlines and just keeps laying it down for about like, it's a 10-minute or 15-minute poem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rhythmic, but it just, the punchlines hit the same way hip hop does. And it's something that certain books have done to me too. Like when you just read a line and you're like, why did this book just steal my thoughts? Or how does it know me so well? And that was something that I kind of wanted to try to get in my music, which isn't a formula, but it's something that you do by just being honest and connected to yourself. So I've been, just working on keeping that connection. And I do love like certain heavy music, and I won't say that there might be a song that drops that's kind of heavy one day, and I want to be able to embrace all that.
Got it. What's your number 2 creative outlet besides music? Is there such a thing?
Sure, surfing.
I've
been surfing a lot, well, for the past 3 years. Planning a surf trip tomorrow just to go away in my van to probably New Hampshire or something.
So I'm just hearing you don't mind being on the road.
No, I love it. I've been trying to fuse travel and music any way I can. If it's traveling to make a music video or record an album, it seems like they go well together, and it makes creating a bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, before I ask you the dumb last question, do you know when we're going to see you live here in New York, or do we just have to keep waiting and checking Instagram?
I think I'm speaking about it. I'm speaking about it now with my manager, and we're trying to figure out the right time. So we don't have a date confirmed, but we're definitely working on it.
So keep checking the Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And last question I got for you. You're obviously a very outdoorsy person, but do you have a TV recommendation you could pass along, a show that people should be watching because it's Jon approved?
Sure. Triangle of Sadness is one of the movies that I recently watched that completely blew my mind, and it's not what you expect. And it's just a really powerful movie. So Triangle of Sadness, if you get a chance.
Triangle of Sadness is going on the list, but in the meantime, congratulations on Oh Brother, great record, which I guess I should be expecting. Looking forward to the next live gig in this area, but in the meantime, just keep up all the greatness out there.
Cool, thanks, man.
Paltrocast.